Hello! Who's this stranger here?
Oh, hey.
Hi.
I didn't see you there.
I was just walking around on the web and I went, wow, this looks like a nice, comfy place. Looked like I could have a great conversation here. So I stopped by.
Right. What are they doing? No. I love the oh, you caught me, X, whatever that is, like, oh, you caught me arranging matchsticks.
I was out there. I was playing with bits and bytes, and I just said, "Wow, this is a nice place. I'm gonna stop right here."
Yeah.
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm I don't know. I'm a little, what's the right word? Whelmed. Like, I'm feeling it. It's definitely summertime, but also we got SpringOne upon us, and so the normal enjoyment.
So true.
It's so true. I want to enjoy my summer, but also SpringOne's
right there.
It's right there, and it's a little stressful. Not a lot. I mean, it's Vegas, so it'll be. There's plenty of outlet for that stress.
So now I'm sorry. I'm going to feign ignorance here, right? What is the most talk you're most excited about giving? You got to have one. You're like, oh, I gotta get that. I want to get that one in.
Oh, the one that I'm. Yeah.
Or one you're ready to listen to, like, oh, that one. Now, I won't lie to you. Guess who's doing the What is Spring talk this year?
Who?
Spencer Gibb and Ryan Baxter.
They know some spring.
I think so. So if y'all say you have a boss, manager, friend, family, child who doesn't know what spring is,
yeah,
they need to know. Go catch that talk. It's going to be amazing.
And get them to teach you. Yeah, like you couldn't pay for better quality, one-on-one time or one-on-end time than that. Second, a pretty close second in terms of the favorite. I've got. Well, hold on. I don't know if what I'm allowed to say is.
Can we?
Is the agenda up?
I don't know.
Maybe the schedule.
Right thing. I know some of the talks that are out there. Maybe I spoke too soon.
No. Okay, wait. No. It's fine. I am. Okay. I see the two talks I wanted to. I see the three talks that I wanted to mention. And I see what is spring. So we're fine. It's all good.
All right.
Hi. Hello. Hey. Hi. Welcome.
Hello.
So I'm doing my usual Bootiful spring boot. That'll be. Nobody's gonna. It won't. I mean, statistically, nobody's gonna die. It's probably gonna be fine. I don't care. I mean, I do care. I do, but it's the least important thing for me because I've done this talk once or twice,
Wait. You've done it more than 2 times?
Glenn, this is a little secret. I don't like to let people in on this, but
Hmm.
sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll submit the same talk.
Wow.
And I know. You heard it here last, not first.
But hey, I guarantee you, not one talk is exactly the same. You adapt it for each and every time with the newest and latest and best.
Well, I mean, sometimes they say in a different place. Anyway, all that to say, uh, that talk's gonna be okay. It's rehearsed at this point at the expense of countless audiences before. But there are two new talks. One is my brief, so small contribution to the otherwise amazing keynote, which I'm sure will be, despite me, it'll be good. And then this is the one I'm really looking forward to. And if you're not watching I'm looking forward to the keynote a lot because, but like I already know what's in that one, so I
not saying
yeah.
anything.
But there's one I don't fully, because we're still working on it, friends. The one I'm not fully prepared for yet is the introduction to Spring AI that I'm doing with with myself. I'll be there, but I'm really just there as like the person who holds the makeup box and brings coffee and adjusts the seats and all that.
Wait. Now, wait a minute. Now, for David Turansky in SpringOne in many years ago, we didn't have a microphone stand. And so for his portion of the talk, I held the microphone for David Turansky so he could give his presentation. So I know what you're doing, and I respect it.
So I did a presentation. I love Dave Turansky. That guy's the coolest. I wish he was going to be there.
Yes.
He's no longer. He's retired.
He's
right?
retired. He retired.
Yeah, he's fine.
And
he's
on an island. I'm not kidding. Off the coast of, I think it's Delaware. Ah, lovely. I'm going. I threatened I'm going to camp out in his front yard, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Glenn's back. I thought I got rid of him." No.
don't cry for Dave. He's fine. But but he was also like a legendary guitar player.
Yes.
And so this is one thing maybe people don't know. Every SpringOne, the Spring team gets together and has a little party, a little tea time after dinner because we get a little salty, a little squirrely. But it's a modest affair. 1 or 2 people, some tea and water, maybe a biscuit, and that's about it. Nothing, no shenanigans there. And anyway, Dave has, along with our colleague Mark Fisher, he's been known for being the DJ. They're like not the DJ, the music act. They're amazing.
Yes, they are.
Just amazing. And then anyway, I did a presentation at, hey Lawrence, how are you, my friend? I did a presentation at Devox UK earlier this year, and it was Kevin Henley and Trisha Gee. They have their
wonderful.
They had their like 37 things or 97 things a Java program, every Java programmer must know. That book came out like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. They had a session finally, because this is the first time that we've all been able to get together. And the 97 Things book was a aggregation of a compendium of all these different submissions from various people in the community, of which I was privileged to be one. And so that was years ago. It's a 4-year-old blog post at this point. It's a couple pages. There's no place like production or something like that, right? Production is the happiest place on earth, right? As I'm wont to say. And obviously I wrote it in terms of the technology and the ideas of the time, but it bore some updates. So when they invited me to participate, I was very excited. But you only get 5 minutes. And because there's a bunch of other speakers, and it's just a 1-hour session at Devox UK. And there's just like 12 of us, like a parade of people, so we're on, each one of us is on the stage. And if you've got 5 minutes, friends, pro tip, know that you've got 5 minutes and prepare accordingly. The sensible, reasonable, logical thing, given the constraint of just 5 minutes, is to have some really good slides and speak clearly and coherently to them, and then get them off stage. Because there's nothing else to do in 5 minutes. You can barely get your your breath if you're trying to do anything meaningful in 5 minutes is not enough time to even read the 2 pages of text that I wrote aloud. I would have to summarize the thing I wrote, and that wasn't even correct anymore. Like, it was correct, but it's just there's more. There's an addendum to be had. So that's the reasonable thing, and that's what most people did is they just did slides. But I am not very smart, and so I decided to do a demo, and I rehearsed it, because I wanted to show, because it's one thing to say in text, do this and get to production, but you can't get there without code, right? And so I figured since it's now a visual medium and not a textual medium, I can show them, right? So I did a breathless 5-minute demo, where like I got like screams and standing ovation and whatever. Like it was fun, but it was insane, and it was the fastest I've ever done that much that quickly, and all that to say, because nobody in their right mind would have done a demo, nobody thought to bring a microphone stand, because why would you need that? Who would be typing, right?
During a presentation like that.
Right, yeah, it makes no sense at all. It wasn't like these people didn't think about every eventuality when they set up this particular presentation, but nobody thought somebody would be that stupid, right? And so anyway, I'll surprise you. So poor Trisha, she held the microphone for me, albeit for 5 minutes. But still, if you watch the video on YouTube, it's hysterical, because she's like a deity, she's, oh my God, I'm such a
exactly. She's holding them up.
And here she holding my microphone. I felt like this small, it was just like, oh yeah, okay, never mind. I felt like crap. I shouldn't have done that. I would never have asked her, but I was in a pinch and she offered, and like, okay, thank you, I'm so sorry.
Please don't. But that such is the life of a presentation. There will always be that hiccup. One of the things I'm doing at the local AJA. So, okay, folks. First off, my name's Glenn.
Oh yeah.
I'm one of the developers at Spring. I work on. I forgot. I didn't say who I am, and they're like, "Who's this Yahoo?" And it's like, "Well, we know Josh, but who's this other guy?" And it's like, "Well, my name is Glenn. I'm one of the developers at Spring. I work on Spring Cloud Task, Spring Batch, Spring Cloud Data Flow, and when Oleg breaks glass in case of emergency, I actually work on Spring Cloud Stream." So, hey, Lawrence. When I am not doing that, I'm also on the board of directors of Atlanta Java Users Group, which also means I'm the board of directors of Atlanta of DevNexus. And one of the things we're doing at AJUG is we're taking a whole new set of developers, and what we're saying is like, look, we want to get new speakers into the field. So we're training. Me and Burke Huffnagel are actually taking and doing a weekly class where we're teaching developers to become give their first lightning talks.
Ooh.
And then what we do is, of the people after they've given their presentations in front of the AJUG, Atlanta Java Users Group, we'll select one of those folks to actually give their first presentation at a major conference. They'll be given at DevNexus.
Oh, wow.
And so the thing is what we're talking about here, folks, is absolutely the truth. When you go up on stage, one of the things we cover is there's always going to be a hiccup. I guarantee it. The screen will have a hiccup. Your machine will have a hiccup. The network is going to be up. The microphone futzes. And so, the thing is always remember there will be something to happen, but believe it or not, the audience understands.
Yeah.
And so things happen. Oh, well, we didn't have a lapel this time. Okay, well, somebody's got to hold the mic. Okay, all right. Well, the mic is out. Okay, well, I'm going to take the mic off and I'm just going to yell it. How many times you had to do that?
Yeah.
More than once, probably, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't even want to think about it, but yeah, I've done. I've done 1 or 2 presentations in my life.
Okay, I can see that.
Dr. Venkat Subramaniam is,
he's somebody out there. Yeah.
He's the best of the best there ever has been, ever will be, etc. The beginning, the middle, and the end of awesome. And he's done. I mean, he's probably done more talks today than most of us have ever done in our lives, And just today, and it's not even the day's not even done yet. So he and I did a presentation at DevNexus, that wonderful conference there. that you are one of the leaders of, and we did it. It was 2019, and I'll never forget that between the two of us, you'd think there'd be enough common sense to make this work, but we ended up in a situation where our laptop wasn't projecting. What? Like we didn't have the right enough. Somebody had to bail us out, so we ended up sitting on the edge of the stage, legs hanging off, sharing a laptop. I was looking over his laptop, doing this introduction to Kotlin, and to be honest with you, it turned out okay. It wasn't so bad, but like we did it. Everything went wrong. And again, between the two of us, we've probably got like, well, I don't know, 30 plus years of speaking experience. 40 years. I mean, it's just a crap ton of time, and it still went south. And because it's him, it was still a good thing. It still turned out okay, but it's okay. People understood. They understood when if Dr. Subramaniam and me, to a much lesser extent, can have a bad day, then anybody can, and it's fine.
Oh, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, I think my favorite things is like I'll be doing some live coding, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be live coding on stage, and I'm like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? And then you hear somebody in the audience kind of yell out, you forgot you're using the wrong variable name.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're my hero.
A lot in JavaScript. Yeah. Like
you're watching me.
Even the all-time most decorated athlete is it like, what is it, in American history or all like even the magical Simone Biles. I've heard stories. I've never seen it because I'm not convinced it's ever happened. Even she sometimes makes mistakes, and but I haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. There's no proof of that.
I haven't seen it, but there's probably evidence out there. We'll have to.
But I don't. In theory, right? I just like to say it's a meaningful platitude to say like, oh, even the best make mistakes, but I'm not sure she ever has. But let's just imagine, what if?
So now I'm putting you on the spot again. See. Now you thought this was gonna be you interviewing me. No.
Oh, okay.
No. We're gonna, folks.
She
relax, did. Kick back. We're gonna go all over the place. But I'm gonna ask you a question.
She fell off.
Oh no!
The beam was it's rigged. The beam is broken.
The beam was broken.
That didn't happen. I don't believe you. Fake news. Like she's amazing. No. I'm team Biles here. No way. It's that beam is.
So I have to ask you this question: when is SpringOne, and who can attend?
Oh, yeah, bad beam. Exactly, the worst beam.
Oh, bad. Absolutely.
SpringOne. So yeah. Okay. Here. So this is the thing. Schedule.
Yeah, there's a schedule involved here, I think.
Yeah, and this is August 26th is when we start the whole party, and it concludes by August 28th. And you can register online for the live stream, or you can attend in person. Oh, I was gonna say, this is what I was trying to say. The talk I'm interested in about which I know a little is the one I'm doing with the good, the great, the inimitable, the amazing, the illustrious doctors Mark Pollock and Rod Johnson. Rod is, of course. So that's why I'm there, to serve coffee and update the makeup if the lighting is wrong or whatever, tamping, like what. I'm just there to position seats and make sure the adapters are working and all that. Maybe if they want a biscuit or something. I'm like, we got Dr. Pollock, founder and lead of Spring AI, which is already like a coup. But then we got the freaking creator of Spring to come back. He hasn't been on the Spring team proper since 2012, so it's now been 12 years. He's been off the Spring team longer than he was on the Spring team, but nonetheless very invested in the Spring ecosystem, and he's been excitedly using Spring AI of late. He's really into the AI space, and so I asked him to join us for this introduction, this Spring AI 101. And yeah, like
that's gonna be awesome.
I'm just gonna be there to, like, again, if Mr. Johnson needs like a coffee or
a breath mint. Yes.
What's it? Banaka, right? I'm there for that. I'm team make sure that guy is okay. Both of them are okay. The good doctors. Yeah, like that's the talk I'm looking forward to. Even though
it is an amazing project. I'll tell you what, between Mark Pollock, Dr. Mark Pollock, Christian, Sobi, amazing project.
Yeah.
I know that Chris is again push some stuff to it. I'm a user of it. I'm thinking with it. We'll be doing a talk on it soon. Yes, did you know? No, this is scary. You can mix batch and AI together.
Oh, I know.
So
It
is amazing, and it works smoothly.
I mean, you think about it, like batch plus vector stores are a marriage made in the cloud. Like it.
Exactly.
Oh, Lawrence, I wish you were going too, buddy. That's a bummer. But we'll catch up. It's a small world. We'll catch up.
But,
we should have good Mr. Lawrence on the stream as well. We've been talking about that for nigh on 6 months or whatever. Did that Vaadin release get out yet? Are we able to do this stream finally? I think it went out. I think I saw a release of Vaadin recently, right?
We're waiting for him to reply here.
No
pressure. No pressure.
Listening on the show, I'm talking to Lawrence D. Codes, who's an advocate for the amazing Vaadin project, and he and I have been toying with the idea of like doing a live stream because I would love to hang out with him live for a while. But then we were like, oh, we have to wait until Vaadin has their GA 24.4 is live. Okay, so then there's no reason not to do it. Let's do it sooner rather than later. Okay, anyway,
absolutely.
Programming, batch Vaadin, batch and Spring AI. Go on. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, it's one of those things that I was like, well, I think this is a talk here. And and I'm like, Mahmoud, I have an idea for a batch talk. And he's like, oh no, here we go. And when Mahmoud says, not a bad idea, you're like,
yeah.
Mahmoud Benassin is the person, and he's the lead of the Spring Batch project. So
right.
They get his blessings, like, oh, thank you.
Yeah,
you don't deserve it.
And he's been on this humble show before, so thank you, Mahmoud. Yeah, he's lead of the Spring Batch project, which is, and I think Spring Batch is so much more useful in the world of AI. You don't even realize 90% of the work of your interaction with AI is just getting your data there. It's
right.
Getting your data into that, giving the AI model access to your data and your APIs is the whole ball game. Teaching it how to integrate. And Java is second to none when it comes to integration, and Spring more so, right? Like it's even more awesome. So it's
it is the integration. It's like I did a talk to some students a number of years ago, and the talk that I gave was they had like 6 talks, and the 6 talks were, or sorry, 7 talks that they gave. All of them were about how to interface, how to build a model, how to work this, how to do that. It's like how to interface, how to prompt engineer, how to and I gave this one little lowly talk on getting the data to your vector store, getting the data for your model. Just that integration port, critical. And a lot of people, it's one of those things. It's like the hidden hero, not me, but those folks that get the data in there, and so that you reduce hallucinations, that you get viable data out. It's critical.
Right, and like once you've gotten it in the vector store, this is the thing I like. The question and answer advisor is a one-liner in Spring AI on the chat client there. You can set up a RAG, like the RAG pipeline, once the data is where it needs to be, is a one-liner. It's not hard. That's easy. We've got you there, but you've got to get your data to a place where we can actually pull it in, And Spring AI will help you. Obviously, we have first pass support for like a dozen different vector stores, and it grows seemingly every day. But I see a question up here. When will Spring AI be GA? And search me. I think there's an M2 scheduled for soon, though. You know when you can always know what I know and what Glenn knows. Well, you can't know everything that Glenn knows. It's impossible. But you can know some of it by going to calendar.spring.io.
Yes.
So what do we got here? What's the schedule? Wait, is this true? I don't know if this is real or not. Calendar.spring.io says Spring AI 1.0 is the 26th of this month, August.
Oh, wow.
Is that real? I don't know. That feels a little soon.
Just give it a yeah. You know, it sounds like they're trying to do a 1.0 for SpringOne, and so. But I can tell you, folks, they put a lot of time on that project. It's really worth the time to kick in and try it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think one of the best parts is like, to switch from like, we we're talking about vector store, to go from one vector store to another minimal code change. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really small, like one line type of thing. And well, you got to go into and update your POM or update your build.gradle. That kind of change is the auto configuration really does save you a lot of time. And then it's like, okay, well, I need to be able to hit, Gemini or sorry, Chat GPT, or pick your one. Again, it's just that small little change. And every time I see that they've got, oh, we're now adding this new engine, we're now adding this new one. They're like, good gracious, folks, how y'all do that? And but each of the changes is consistent. And that's the thing. It's like once you learn how to do it on one, it's a classic Spring story. You know how to do it one, it's smooth to move from one to the other. And that's what's amazing about that project as well.
It's so good. So good. I'm a huge fan. I don't know about those dates, friends, but I do remember there's supposed to be a like a M2 soon enough, and it battle. I know that's supposed to be sooner rather than later. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be RC1, as the calendar seems to indicate for next week. But anyway, the point is, it's a sign of just how committed and focused and busy we are that the calendar might be a little laggy.
Oh, I said Chris, or it's Craig was contributing to it as well. So
Oh yeah, and
yeah, I said Chris. I was like, Chris, no, it's Craig. It's Craig that's doing it. Come on, Glenn, wake up.
right, yeah. But I'm also contributing to it if it matters. Don't
Woo!
let that stop you using it. Don't let it scare you away. Okay, I just got it from the source. That calendar isn't right. Don't rely on that just yet. But so there you go. So the answer to your question is, not only do I not know, but nobody does. It's impossible to know. It's up in the air at the moment. Just but things are moving very steadily, very quickly, and so on. Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you, my friend. Have a good. Enjoy your code.
Take care, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. This project, it's one of those things where I'm finding more uses for it every day. I've talked about this. We just mentioned batch. I think that's an obvious one. The vector store, because vector stores. Can we use Spring AI with a custom AI model? Sure. If you have a model that you want to integrate, you have to implement it, right? It's not a small lift, obviously. If your model is exposed through Ollama or Hugging Face, then yeah, we have support for those, which are like meta models. So we have the Spring AI support for Ollama, and that in turn is a broker of sorts for countless other models. So for example,
Right.
I can run Llama 2 through Ollama, and Llama 2 is like, really, really, really high quality model there. So yeah, it's extensible. It's a framework, right? Open for extension, and this part doesn't apply to Spring, but it's closed for modification. But that doesn't apply to Spring. That's just what they say. That's the definition of a framework: open for extension, closed for modification, even though Spring is not closed for modification since it's open source. But yeah, you can definitely extend it. Although I'd be surprised if you needed to. I mean, just as soon as I learn about a model, I go to GitHub, and as soon as I refresh github.com/spring projects/spring AI, as soon as I refresh it, Dr. Pollock or Christian has just committed the support for the thing I was asking about. Wish they would stop it. Do you ever get those creepy ads where you're like, you mention something and in spitting distance of one of your home assistants, the Google.
Absolutely. And then you see a ton of advertisements come your way about, like, for me, it's like kayaks or fishing or gardening. And it's like, or even code. So I have a very interesting YouTube feed of, if I were to mix them together, I could write code while gardening in my kayak while holding a fishing rod. It's amazing, what you can do if you just put all those ads together and see what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I guess the Spring AI team is listening also, because as soon as I ask for something, or as soon as I think about it and say, "Oh, wouldn't it be was," it just appears. It just appears.
I'm
It's like
starting to
it's
think.
crazy.
No. I think what it is I'm going to go conspiracy. I think they got a AI listener that's predicting what we're going to talk about, and it's auto answering for them. I'm
Right?
just putting that
Yeah.
out there.
And it's not that they're maybe it's not that they're listening. Maybe they're just omniscient. I mean, they are the leads of AI.
I'll go with omniscient. I'll go with omniscient. Let's do that.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Uh, oh, wait! Breaking news. This just in. I'm talking to the good Dr. Pollock here. He says he
Hey,
can
Mark.
update the M2 date and remove the rest. And so I'm asking him when's M2 roughly, because that's what I thought. I thought we'd have an M2 sooner.
Well, talk about scheduling. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple other schedules coming up. Well, JComp is coming up, I think, the 24th to the 26th of September. Both Josh and I will be there.
Yes.
And if
Yeah.
you are interested in DevNexus, we have opened up DevNexus 2025 for early registration, or if you want to submit a paper for DevNexus 2025, call for papers is open.
Yes, please. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be at Jake. That one's going to be in
September, late
Austin,
September. Oh yeah, Dallas.
Dallas. I'm sorry. Do you eat much barbecue?
I've been known to partake.
Okay.
Actually, the last time you were in Atlanta, I wanted to take you up to a place up here, but we just ran out of time. So yeah, it's a place called Dreamland, and I was like, I need to take him to Dreamland. Let him tell me how it compares to the St. Louis experience, the Dallas Austin experience, and tell me where does it fit. So you being a connoisseur of barbecue.
Well, Dallas has some really good barbecue, and yeah,
I think we need to stomp out one day and go find us some, because
there's a
we're
place
there for a
called
couple of days.
Odom's Barbecue,
Odom.
which
Okay.
is, I mean, I'm salivating. It's during the old Pivotal days, whenever we used to do consulting or visits or whatever, when to talk to customers in the Dallas area. By the way, huge, like lots of office parks, lots of really cool people doing cool things this spring there, obviously. And I used to go there, and we'd do these like lunch and learns or whatever, like brown bag lunches, whatever. And yeah, I'd make sure our team got Odoms, right? That's what we catered, right? Like it's what you want sweet iced tea, yams or
Granted.
sweet pie, collard greens, and of course, like every bit of barbecue you can imagine, every kind of barbecue. Actually, I'm making myself hungry. This is the problem.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just said Dallas. That's all I said.
Yeah, it makes me hungry. I remember going. Yeah, I was there last year. I mean, every time I go, it's been a tradition for like a decade now. It's one of those holes in the walls. You go there, it's cold inside because they've got refrigeration, but when you're outside, it's Dallas, it's hot as heck.
You know what my rule is on barbecue places? If both the places that have the best barbecue are holes in the walls with a lousy parking lot or a building that looks abandoned.
Right.
And if then I'll have some of the best barbecue.
And this place had a fly, and the fly was fat. Right. So I knew the food was going to be great, and I've never. Every time I go to that barbecue place, it doesn't. Even if it's the last thing I do right before I head to the airport, I go to Odom's.
There's a stop there involved.
It has to. I have to. I mean, there's so many things to like about Dallas, but the barbecue is, come on, it's gonna be great. Austin gets all the press, but Dallas has some pretty great barbecue too.
Oh, Dallas is a great city. Austin is a great city. Love them both. I don't come home lighter than when I arrived. I'll put it that way. So ever,
Um,
ever. So
so okay, the use cases for AI, and okay, back to what I was saying. I think
back to
like
AI.
it's a little bit. There's a couple things. First of all, virtual threads could not have come at a better time because all of
Absolutely.
these interactions with these models are network, usually HTTP, usually blocking I/O. So having virtual threads make that guilt-free, same great taste, no filling, right? That's a wonderful thing. And then the other thing is if you have the ability to tolerate a little bit of latency, then so many of the workflows that would have required us to flag or to raise or to escalate or to log out or provide some sort of general escape hatch to our control flow to allow for errors, so many of those flows could just be automatically remediated thanks to AI now, right?
Right.
You have the tolerance for latency. So for example, messaging in Spring integration or data flow, you get a message that has a bad payload. Maybe get the AI to take a look at it and see if it can fix it for us, right? Maybe they're just missing a comma. Or in batch, I'm reading a file and I've got some CSV data. This data it's fine, but I get to line 999,000 out of a
Right.
million, and there's a missing quote. Can the AI just please take a look at that and see what's wrong and fix it for me, right? And then
Right.
I'll do it again.
Absolutely.
And if it goes processed again, then yay, Spring security. I can have a filter that sits there and looks at requests and runs it through the AI. Like the request happens 5 times in a minute. Okay, now it's time to do some analytics or do some analysis. Have the AI give me an idea, a consensus on whether to reject that request and permaban it or not. Um,
Absolutely. And the thing is, a wonderful thing about what you're bringing up is that when you talk about messaging frameworks and you're dealing with data like this, how do you want to route it based on the condition of the data? And you can do, I mean, I haven't tried it yet, but it's a doable thing, is you can create a router that says, look, okay, I'm gonna look at this data and it's showing an error. And the data and you can actually take and probably do the correction and route it saying, hey, instead of routing it to the error bucket, is there something we can do here to actually maybe do the repair and send it to, instead of sending it to a dead letter queue, let's keep it going. Is there a fix here possible, right? So
right. It's slightly slower, but it gets the process moving as opposed to stop dead in its tracks.
it goes back to the integration model. It's like if you look at the enterprise integration patterns, let's go back to the big black book that we bought. Now it's available online, but it has, I forgot what, 65 patterns in it.
Yeah.
How can we integrate these two technologies together in a smooth way?
Yeah.
And AI can play a component with processors, possibly filters, routers.
Oh, another
Um,
one. You've
yeah,
got
go ahead.
you've got arbitrary like form data about locations. Somebody types in their location, and I need to know whether to send that to a USA time zone bucket or like just help me figure out. Somebody wrote SF, CA, US, which is not the same as San Francisco, California, United States of America, right?
Right.
Like normalize it for me, and then help me route it to the right geo bucket. AI can do that kind of stuff, and it so many problems that would have been like, oh, but how about this? Just become like, AI will do it. Why not?
Well, absolutely. And so the thing is that, so first off, folks, if you hadn't had a chance to play with it, there's a lot of material out there to just kind of jump in and don't be like, well, I don't have the time or whatever. There's a lot of tutorial videos out there. I did a talk, I think it's November last year, and what it was is I was going to do a series of lightning talks, and actually I'm letting another speaker give the second one. But the talk was is how to give a lightning talk, or how to create a lightning talk using AI. And basically, I used prompt engineering to create the outline on how to do an AI talk with a
Right.
lightning talk, right? And it was a 10-minute quick hit, but it was able to show how you can play with just prompt engineering to be able to get the result that you want. And then the
Right.
second one that Shaitan's going to do for me is he's going to go in and say, okay, what if I load in a vector store and I do RAG? What do these two different things look like,
Right.
right? And so you have these things where it's like, to take a look at. I think I said it was like November last year I gave it, but there's several other talks out there. And that's what Spring II was like 0.7. So any of the technology I had back then, it's simplified a lot more from when I wrote it. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's so when I was doing my first talks, the hard part isn't the. I mean, I don't know. There's so many parts that by themselves are interesting, and I think having somebody do half of it makes it easier. So it gets you the ability to focus on the part that's scary for you. So, for example, if your concern, if your constraint is you don't know how to give a talk, but you can write the outline for it, right? Then maybe you want to get to the point, you want to de-risk the part of it that is scary for you, which is the actual performance, the actual stage performance, right? And so having the ability to get to a point where I have a working outline where I can actually riff, I can stand in front of a mirror and prepare, super valuable, right? Like I know I could write the outline myself, but the dread of having to do the performance will make it so that writing outline is stressful, you know. So you get the outline, get some help, right? Like get the AI to help you a rubber duck, you know.
Oh,
And then,
I think it's great. It's like, so the one thing I do when I'm preparing a talk, or even if I'm doing a blog or something along that lines, the hardest thing to look at is I'm going to grab basically it's this. It's the blank sheet of paper. I know it's blurred,
oh,
but the blank sheet of paper. How do I start? And typically what I do is I sit there and stare at it. And so what I did was I said, okay, now I go in and I go to like a Chat GPT or Gemini or whatever, and I go in and I say, and I just riff off a prompt, and it goes out and generates just a ton of hallucinations that are on, some are off, some of the thing data is on, sometimes off of what I was after. But
right,
what I do is I then take that what it's wrote and I correct it. I make it correct.
right,
So now I have this no longer this blank sheet of paper. I have a corrected piece of real written stuff, and then I go, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. I want that, want that. I need to enhance that. And then what took a process, it would just to warm up, like it would take like 15, 20 minutes to warm up. Now we're talking like 5 or 10 minutes.
yeah. You get to the punchline. Actually,
Faster. So
literally,
use the tool. Have fun with it, right? And some of the hallucinations are fantastic. I'm like, wow, I wish that was true. But
right,
the truth is that you can use the tools to kind of break out of that, that first dreaded few minutes of it, right?
right. Fill the page up so then it's a matter of editing as opposed to incepting, right? And
Absolutely.
I find editing my writing to be so much more relaxing than trying to write in the first place. Um,
Yeah.
actually, this is another thing. I don't know if people do this. Do you do this? I write with like I don't like Microsoft Word. I mean, it's a fine tool, I'm sure, but it's only good for editing. I don't use
Right.
it to write, and the reason is because you get bored and you get lost or you don't have an idea and you're sitting there fiddling with fonts and italics and all that, and I'm not focusing on the actual problem. Whereas
Hmm.
so what I'll do is I'll sit there with a just literally note like the equivalent of Notepad. I use Sublime on Mac, which you can use on Linux and probably Windows as well. I'll use Sublime. It's a text editor. It does nothing. There's no fonts. There's nothing. There's not even
Absolutely.
visual prioritization of elements and whatever. And I'll use that. I'll write full of errors. I'll just type it out as quick as I can, write bullet points, and then I'll go through and turn that into full-blown sentences again, completely ignoring the fonts, the paragraphs, the headings, all that kind of stuff. Then I've got something. If you just keep adding fat to the meat, adding meat to the bones of that skeleton of your outline, um,
Your
it's
goal is to transmit in the way that you think you're transmitting it to paper. It's just for you at that
right.
time. And what you're doing is you're building something that you're saying, okay, the first question you're going to ask is there a story here that people would be interested in? Is it something people want to hear? Right?
Yeah.
People are really interested in AI. Okay, what are they interested in AI? Oh my gosh, is it the models? Is it RAG? Is it just, doing prompt engineering? Is it which tool's the best? Or, all these variations. And what you do is you'll pick one of those topics that, I'll tell you what, the best way to learn is to give a talk.
Yeah.
Give a talk at a lunch break at your company. I know
Right.
it's intimidating, but
It
you
is.
will learn so much more. And as one person told me, if you know one more thing than the rest of the crowd, you are considered the expert.
I think it's actually maybe not at your own company. You know what? I know this is a little heretical. Do it at
Go for it.
do it at your local Java user group
Oh,
or something.
please come talk to
Yeah.
me. If you're in Atlanta, talk to me. Come. I'm
And the
annoying.
reason is
Talk to me.
because you know, I don't suffer from stage fright anymore. Like a sociopath, I've managed to move beyond my basic lizard brain and ignore the fight or flight response that you naturally have when you're stared at by a lot of people who you don't know, right? Because the brain naturally tells you to run away. That's what stage fright
They're
is.
all
Is
predators. Their eyes are
yeah,
facing
they're trying to
forward.
eat you, right? That's the brain's mammalian reptilian brain telling you like
Yep.
get out of there, boogie.
Lizard braining it.
Yeah. So I've moved past that basic instinct, and so I no longer suffer from stage fright. But I can tell you, even when I first started, I didn't really have stage fright. But the one time I distinctly remember really feeling, because I was lucky as a kid. I took a Toastmasters. You know,
Ooh.
did you ever do that Toastmasters?
No, I worked in a pawn shop. I learned how to talk to people in a pawn shop.
That's even better. Yeah. And the result of Toastmasters was to sort of give you they're not going to get you the next TED talk, but they give you the confidence to pursue that TED talk,
Right.
you know, and they give you guides in which to do that, framing in which to do that. Well, anyway, I did my first talk the one that made me fearful was actually at my office for this company I used to work at before I was privileged enough to join the Spring team. And the reason it was so fear-inducing because I had already done talks at the server-side Java Symposium and a couple of international ones by that point, and now I'm doing one here, you know, in front of people I knew and that knew me.
That is so true.
Much more traumatizing than the blank canvas of the unknown. You know, the obscure audience versus the familiar one is, I don't know. To me, it's night and day. So go to the Java user group and hope that nobody recognizes you. And you know, like.
Well, I'll put it this way. A lot of folks, I'll put it this way. The way I tell my first time speakers, I said, look, believe it or not, the audience is actually for you. They're not against you.
Right.
When you walk in, they're there because they want to learn. That's the reason they showed up. It may be for the pizza, it may be for the beer, it might be for the soda, but they're there and they want to learn. And so a lot of times you're up there and you know what the hints I always tell folks is one, always arrive early before your talk. A
Right.
little bit early, especially when you're first started. Get a feel for the room. Look over the room, get used to it, stand up front, get the size of the room.
Right.
Then what I always do to this day is I always get to talk. I get to talk a little bit early, and I just talk with a couple of folks in the audience. I get the feel for it, right? Who are
Yeah.
they? Who's here? And then that also helps you as you get up front to give the talk on the stage. I mean, um, you know, the thing
Oh,
is that, go ahead.
somebody we got this comment. He goes for the pizza as well, or they go for the pizza, right?
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, yeah.
But and the thing is if you go to a jug, a lot of times here's the things that you do. You get to learn. Sometimes you get fed, but then also you build relationships with folks, right? Building relationships helps you build a better career.
For sure.
And you get to meet the speakers, you get to meet those folks that you see on video all the time. You get to meet them in person and get to talk to them. And then you find out, oh, they're just like me, right? And you're like, and then the speaker's like, that person's actually amazing. He should be doing this, not me. Because I tell you what,
Right.
some folks that come in and ask me questions, I'm like, geez, you need to be up on that stage. Why aren't you on that stage?
Yeah.
You're way more knowledgeable than I am. It's amazing.
Right. I
So,
love that
you know,
dynamic. The only problem with going there and meeting people is that now you know them and you can't give more talks. Because
they figured me out. So I'll put it this
right.
way: Michael Manella is the director of Spring, and when he was my manager, I said I would regularly tell him, I said, Michael, people think I know what I'm talking about, and he said, Glenn, you are an expert until you're otherwise told. So
Right.
you know, so believe it or not, folks, you are an expert. Get out there and try, right? And you know, it's like with the Spring AI. My first premise is I'm like, I'm gonna give a talk on it. By giving a
Right.
talk on it, I've just dug in like a tick. I'm sitting there learning it, playing with all these things. And then it's like you start breaking stuff. And my wife knows when I'm happy is when she hears some micro swearing from my desk, because it's like, oh crap, I got it. And then the next what's it usually flies out afterward, right? So in that case, it's exciting to do. And now I've got to a point where it's like, I'm not going to be doing this one in September, but I may do it for like March or April next year. So I have time. I'm going to learn. I'm going to play with it. And then it's like, then I'm going to give the presentation to Mahmood and say, Mahmood, do we have something we can add to Spring? So now a presentation becomes an idea. An idea becomes what? Product.
Right.
So these are things that can happen, right? Now, is this going to happen? No, that's up to Mahmood, but I would like to propose it when I get this thing more mature. And so we
That would be
learn.
great.
Right. It's exciting stuff.
Well, now I'm both hungry and excited about the next opportunity to hang out with you, my friend.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
so that's
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah. We
So,
actually talked about.
go ahead.
We talked about Spring AI. I feel like that's
Yeah.
important. That's good. Talked about the awesome opportunities for the Spring user. That's good. Is there anything we should be pointing people to that you're working on day to day directly?
Well, right now I'm still working on Spring Cloud Task, which basically is a project that makes your a ephemeral boot app, an app that starts, does something, and terminates, makes it a good citizen. And by following the basic 12 factors for a ephemeral microservice. So if
Right.
you are running ephemeral apps and you want them to survive in the cloud and be good citizens there, like I said, follow the 12 factors, take a look at that project. If you need to orchestrate applications, like streaming applications, like we talked about before, where I may be taking in data from an external system, and then I want that to flow, be able to design the flow of events from microservice to microservice. What I could do in that case is, and I want to be able to design these graphically and then deploy them to Kubernetes, to Tanzu Application Service, to my local machine, and have something to manage that deployment and against my favorite messaging framework, whether that is Kafka or Rabbit, and I've got all the others that are out there, and be able to tie them together. Spring Cloud Data Flow is there for you. It also orchestrates batch jobs, right? Or what we call tasks, so that you can actually create a flow of batch jobs. I say batch jobs, actually batch applications that you can
Right.
actually go in and create the flow for that. So you can say, hey, I start this batch application. It's running. Oh, it succeeded. Okay, I want to run batch B, batch app B, batch app C, run down this way. Oh, we had an error. Okay, to what Josh said, we want to actually run that to D now that and see if D can correct it. If D can correct it, now go run, B, C on down the line. So you have that ability to be able to orchestrate that and design that using Spring Cloud Data Flow.
In this economy, anything that creates more batch jobs is a good thing. I'm a fan.
I tell you what, I'm both a streaming and a batch fan. I get to play with Spring Cloud Stream from time to time. The thing is pick the best product or pick the best architecture that solves your problem. Not all things are batch problems. Not all things are streaming problems. It is up to you to decide which is better. And batch is old, but it might be what it is what you're looking at. Batch is the actual best solution.
Yeah.
Or you might go ahead.
I think because I did a whole series about a year ago looking at Spring Batch, and it's one of my most popular videos just because I don't think people realize so many, besides simple CRUD, anything more than CRUD, and you're starting to look at a batch job and the technology that batch gives you. Heck, we just talked about vector stores. That fits super nicely in the batch paradigm. It
I'm
just
trying
does.
to remember the speaker that was talking about it. It's like this. What happens if you've processed 5,000 files, or let's say 20,000 files into your vector store, and at the 20,000, and you got to process 25,000. I'm just grabbing a number. What happens if you fail at the 20,000? You don't want to have to clean out the database and start from the beginning. You want to rerun that job and pick it up where it left off, because maybe you run out of table space, Something as simple as that. And then what you want to be able to do is to pick up start where you left off. Spring Batch does that for you out of the box. It offers transactions out of the box. So it simplifies that. All that does, you do that through configuration versus having to write all that yourself. Why would you write it when you can just do it through configuration using builders? So, and plus what happens is you can actually go back in afterward to go in and say, how did this batch app end? Okay, the batch job was successful, or hey, it was successful, but it had this many kickouts. Oh, what steps kicked out? You have the ability to go back in retrospective and go look at what happened. Again, the restartability, the transaction support. You've got readers and writers out there that do. You don't have to write that. You configure it, whether you're reading from a Kafka and write to a JDBC, whether you're reading from Mongo and you're writing out to a flat file. You don't have to write those. That's already done for you through the readers and writers. Just configure it.
I couldn't agree more. I love that. It's just easy way to think about these, and you get the same tool chain, gets you both paradigms and everything in between. Nice.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. And go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure we talked about that. That way people can know where to go.
There's another one I want to bring up. It's a little known hero out there. And if you've done Spring Cloud Stream and you're writing stream apps, right? And stream is basically this. It says, look, what if I could create an app that it can receive data and from a messaging framework and write it out to messaging framework as a function, or maybe as a consumer where it just receives data, processes data, and then takes action on it, or it's coming in as a producer and it's generating data that it wants to send downstream. Do I want to write a lot of code, or would I rather just write a function? Spring Cloud Stream does that for you. All you have to do is by pulling in the Spring Cloud Stream binder to your favorite messaging framework. Again, Kafka, Rabbit, or I've got all the others supports. You write the function, and then once you write that function, you're done. You can test that function in isolation. You can have that function as a part of a catalog of functions. And what you do is you just take that function, you pop it in, and then you just bring in the binder. And then it will automatically detect the function and hook it in. And all you got to do is tell it where's my topic I'm reading from, where's my topic I'm writing out to. Done.
I love this.
I love it.
It really comes in handy when you're writing the same code, and you can now take that to Lambda paradigm. You can take it to stream processing with a broker of choice. It's just invaluable. Okay, very good, my friend. This has been fun. Are you on the internet? And do you want to
find me? LinkedIn, CPP, WFS. Don't ask what it means. I was young. I was foolish. I was there. You can find me there. You can find me on the X Twitterverse there as the same CPP, WFS. I'm on Instagram. Same thing. Sounds pretty monotonous. Go to your favorite Java user group, please.
Yes, please.
I highly recommend it. But if you are in Atlanta, the third Tuesday of every month, we have AJUG. And then March, I think it's 5th, we are going to be at Dev Nexus. Meet me there. I will most definitely be running around. And also, please. Also, yes, GitHubs. Also, take a look at my repo. See all the good stuff I play with there. And then we'll also be at JConf. So come see me, shake my hand, pat me on the head. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out.
Thank you, Josh.
Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
See you, folks.